All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Business Blueprint. I have my friend here, Justin Locante. He is in the health and fitness space. I am over, and I'll tell you, I got to say something about you, man. You have been super consistent on this stuff since I've ever met you. How long ago did I meet you?
Oh man, over 10 years now.
Over
I feel
10
like,
years.
yeah.
And you've been on this since day one.
Yeah.
That's one thing I always tell people. Like, you've never switched it up in regards to that. Like, your health and fitness, your mind and body has always been a humongous part of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I give you the utmost credit for that because you've never switched up on it,
Yeah.
which means you truly give a shit.
Yeah.
100%. So tell me a little bit about what you got going on now.
Right now, I'm operating my sports performance and personal training company on McNeely Road. I'm currently renting space there right now. But you actually got me at an interesting time because I was just approved for a location in Bethel Park.
Nice.
So it's looking like that's going to be the next move for me. I'm
So
rebranding.
So
and
you're
doing
going to
all
do your
kinds of
own
stuff.
space.
Yeah, my own
Okay.
space. Yeah.
All right.
And I'm completely doing like a whole new rebrand as well.
Gotcha. So you're going to have new name,
New name,
model,
new everything. Yeah, new name,
everything.
new building,
Gotcha.
new employees. Yeah.
Yep. So you're going to start out with employees. It's not going to be just you.
I'll start out with employees.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dope.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge step. Congratulations.
Yeah, I kind of took my time.
Yeah.
You know,
We have to.
I had opportunities. You know,
Yeah.
you and I spoke about different things, but I think just being patient was like a key factor in this whole thing.
So tell me a little bit about what is your main focus in the health and fitness world right now? I know you do a lot of training with kids. I know you do some other stuff. Can you give us a breakdown on like what your typical?
Yeah, for sure. I would say my thing and what I like point that I like to get across is helping people become more aware of energy, the energy in and around them, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I think that your energy can easily be manipulated in this world from a lot of different things. And it's just giving people the awareness that so they can understand, like, how do I even interact and how do I get the most out of my day and maximize my energy? Just becoming self-aware at the end of the day.
Through exercise or just through all of it?
So like mindset training, different things that you can do, understanding how the brain works, neuroplasticity, and different things that you can do to kind of jumpstart that is one thing that I like to help athletes with specifically. Moving your body. I just believe that all of that is connected. So you can't really have one without the other. You can, but there'll be some kind of like disharmony and you got to find balance with all of those.
Yeah. I mean, it's always mind, body, soul, right? I mean, that's always like the old saying with it. So what are some of because I know discipline's such a huge topic anymore and mindset. So what are some of the routines that, and I know, and I think you also coach my little cousin, right?
Yeah, I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you got some
Caleb.
so you got some young kids, and then do you have some older kids?
I have some older kids, professional athletes,
right.
college athletes.
Do you treat each person differently? Is this kind of one of them things where like you identify almost what's going on with that person and set them up for their own road of success? Because we all interpret things differently, correct? Yeah,
absolutely. So you're not going to give the same person the same programming as you would somebody who's unconditioned and somebody that's already an athlete. I'm more of like, I'm going to meet you where you're at. Obviously, all of this information and all of this energy will help these people, but and I think that was like maybe an issue of mine before is when I first got into this, I wanted to give everybody all of the information, but it's kind of be overwhelming sometimes. So I try to meet them where they're at and give them digestible things piece by piece as we go through.
So now I'm assuming probably over the years of you doing this, you have some sort of process or some sort of way that you kind of understand each person. So how do you interpret what person gets and what person gets another?
Yeah. So one is obviously age and doing different things, like different kinds of testing. So there's so many different things. Like when it comes to the actual physical training, I'm going to take a kid through a series of different testing, vertical jump, sprinting, and I'm going to kind of get a feel of, okay, where is this kid even at? Where am I going to start him at? And then it kind of just progresses. I'll do that same test, like the same tests are still going to be done to an 8-year-old. That'll be done to a college athlete. I'm going to try to track that data and kind of see where they're at and give them what they need based off of where they're at, not where I want them to be, you know?
So I know a lot of the energy stuff. Like some people, again, I was a lot closed-minded even to it back in the day. I mean, I wasn't kind of even hip with it. Huge believer in it now. I mean, obviously, like I said, as I've gotten older, just become more open-minded
Right.
to a lot more things. Now, when people kind of seek you out or look for your guidance, is that something you're upfront with in the beginning, or is this
Yeah.
something they're already kind of looking for?
I think it's a little bit of both. I'm a big believer of you become the person that you needed to be when you were younger. So I think that I'm having a relationship with not only the athlete, but with their parent as well.
Correct.
So if I'm the person that I needed, the parents, like, let's be realistic. Most people, you pick up on energy. Most of communication is nonverbal. So the parents, when they meet me, like, if I'm already marketing and my brand right now is Conscious Mind Athlete, the name of it is kind of already in the brand. And then when they come in and they meet me, it's pretty, like, they know.
Yeah. So what are some of the discipline mindset tricks that you guys are kind of working on nowadays?
That's an interesting one. I used to think it was like all about motivation and like positivity, but like I'm not even, to be quite honest, I don't even know if I really believe in that anymore.
I think there's a place for it.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's certain times of the year, you know, even for me, I'm with you. I don't need all the rah-rah.
I'm not saying that's the answer.
No,
you know what I
100%. I'm with you. And in my view on it's kind of been different over the years where like when I first started a business or I was first doing conceptual ideas, I needed the motivation
Right.
because it's hard, right? Like you're in the trenches. You're trying to figure all this out from scratch.
Right.
And something needs to be there just to give you some hope.
For sure.
So I think there is, you know, as the evolution of the game kind of goes, you know, the motivation becomes less and less and less because I think whenever you really find what you truly love and adore doing, you don't need motivation anymore.
Absolutely.
You're just in it.
Purpose.
So purpose for sure. So, you know, mindset or our motivation and some of that stuff. I think it's great in the beginning. You know, I think it's a great building block.
What are you going to do when you get punched in the face?
100%.
You still going to be motivated?
No, you better be. Yeah.
But you can get shit done and be pissed off and disciplined though.
Yeah.
Like you can still, I'm like in that point where I'm like, like,
and the space has gotten saturated, right?
oh dude,
Yeah. So like that's been
Crazy
another thing
saturated.
where it's kind of like you're just like, all right.
here we go.
There we go.
you know,
Yeah. So how do you layer the motivation then, right?
your actions have to align with your words. And if they don't, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that kind of shit. And that's how I discern things.
Yep.
It's
And
very
that's more
simple.
of like your routine, meaning this is how we do things. This is what
Yeah.
we're going to get done.
We lead by example too.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I like leading by example for sure. That's one of the things where, you know.
I like talking shit though too. So do you. That's part of it though, you know? That's how you It's part of it.
I like talking shit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a motivating factor in the sense of, you know, all my group of friends, that's all we do is just chirping
Yeah,
each other,
it's
man. And it's, if you make one mistake, you never hear the fucking end of it.
It's the
And there's
best,
some
right?
days you're like, I don't know we're friends. Like, what the fuck is going on?
I remember the jabs just from when we were cutting grass.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like, you know, I will, you know, Steve and all the kind of the same people, right? So, you know, when my dad had a set regimen, like if we didn't live up to that, we had problems, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it taught us work ethic and taught us a lot of that stuff early on and what we needed to kind of do.
We didn't even know that he was doing it.
Didn't even have a fucking clue.
That's so cool. Thinking back, looking on it, huh?
Didn't have a fucking clue.
He was just setting the tone, dude.
It's
Probably
crazy.
like, oh, they'll get it one day.
They'll figure it out. Yeah, no doubt. So whenever originally back in the day, I mean, you were way more into the energy. You've always been in the energy side of it. So how do you incorporate, you know, because there's got to be a good blend and mix, right?
Mhm.
So when people are looking for their energy, are you looking for them for like to cater happiness? Are you looking to them to what kind of energy are you looking to unlock?
I guess it's already there. And I just think that I don't want to say these people, I feel like most of the time it's not even them. They're programmed to be that way and they might not know it. And it's just kind of getting them to dust off something that was already there. And I just do it by asking questions, giving them different pieces of information that I think would work at that time and not just like screaming or yelling at them. Like that doesn't work. You have to give everybody like the right information. And if I don't have the right information, I'm connected to so many different people, life coaches and pastors and guys like you that I can be like, just go talk to Bryan or go talk to my life coach. His name's Marcel Johnson. He's incredible. So if I can't get my point across and I know like what it needs to be that this person needs, but I can't like verbalize it, I'll just send them into another direction of a person that I trust.
So I think this is a little different than like your normal personal training, right? So this is something that's kind of more on the newer side. Like this is probably these kind of things have popped up only in the last couple of years. Because when you're talking about energy and you're talking about the therapeutic values and gains of working out, they're held in two different places, right? So like when you're either sitting down with a kid going over some certain things, like is it all at the same gym? Like
So right now, like where we're doing it
Yeah.
at, right now it's crazy because I mean, I rent space off my buddy Christian Hurt.
Yeah.
He's a business owner and he has like 4 or 5 other trainers down there.
Yeah.
But we're all kind of running our own little business. And it's gotten to the point where like we just all need to do what's best for ourselves.
Sure.
So that's why I'm getting the space that I'm getting and bringing the employees with me, because same reason that you left the location that you're at, like the pot is just not big enough anymore. We need to uproot. And
Well,
find
there's always a
solid
time where you
foundation.
need to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And either you let that pass by or you act on it and figure it out, and you always kind of know whenever the opportunity is right for you. And, like we said, we've talked about some other opportunities weren't just right at the right time. And listen, short 2 years later, you got your own thing going now.
Right.
And, that's the way it really works.
And the cream of the crop always rises to the top.
No doubt.
And that's how I look at it.
No
And
doubt.
sometimes it just takes patience. And I'm patient. I'm not saying it's easy. It's been extremely difficult, especially like things happen in your personal life too. But you just have to be aware. And once you're aware of like what's going on, like there's so much going on that we don't even see. We can only feel. And my mom and dad have always just put inside me like to trust that feeling and to trust that gut. And most people, I feel like they feel that, but they don't always trust it. They get manipulated.
Influenced.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So tell me some of the struggles, because personal training in the health space online has become crazy popular.
Yeah.
And just health space in general, especially coaching. So coaching space really in general. But the health and fitness space has exploded in the coaching realm. What are some of the really early on trials and tribulations that you've had? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, how long have you been like in
12,
this space?
12, 13 years.
So, this is 13 years in the making, this next move, which is incredible.
It's cutting edge too.
Yeah, I mean, which is incredible when you start to look back on some certain things. You're like, holy shit, it's finally happened.
I didn't understand what was happening because I was going through it all. So it's like, it all comes back to, being in your purpose, I think, and figuring out who even cares about this information.
Yeah.
Right. I try to convince, when I found out all of this information about energy and all kinds of different things about quantum physics and religion and so many different things that connect, I wanted to tell the entire world so bad that I literally made a documentary about it.
I remember that.
Dude, no one really gave a shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then here we are 10 years later and everybody's talking about it. I'm like, this is crazy. So then I just doubled down.
They're just early to the party.
I just doubled down on the information though. And I was like, you know what? Who cares about the information? I'm going to utilize it now. I'm going to become the information that I'm talking about. And I just kept quiet for years, dude, literally so long. And I just literally tried to become the embodiment of what I was trying to preach and what I was trying to teach people. Because if you're not what you say you are, then, I mean, that's just like crazy, right?
You're the first layer of fraud.
Right.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there's so much of that, too, out there where it's like, especially in the coaching space. And that's what I was trying to really get at with this is like, you see a lot of the online training and all that other stuff. Yours is, what sets you apart from a lot of that stuff. And I think, like you said, with your cutting edge and some new techniques that you guys kind of have going on. But again, I mean, you've had to have probably changed your philosophy on this, like you said, over the last 12 years because you've grown as a person, So
I realized how little I knew.
How have some of your outlooks changed on the fitness world? And because it's obviously
these are my favorite. This is where I like to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is some of your things? What is your outlooks that have changed on the fitness world over the years?
I think that if you are a person of value and you do not need to work for the fitness industry as far as like commercial industry or
meaning like an LA Fitness
or a burn boot camp, LA Fitness, like you can start your own brand, you can rent your own space and you can do it yourself. You don't need another person's brand to help you. You need a solid group of team players that are on your team and that have the same goal and vision that you do, but you don't need to. And I think that a lot of people fall into that trap where they take these, I like to call them McDonald's salary jobs for personal training. And they're working for these fitness industries that are telling you, go change people's lives, go change the world. And they're going to pay you $36,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't, those words and actions just like don't match up to me. So I saw through all the bullshit and I was like, you know what, dude, I can do this on my own.
Did you see through all the bullshit in the beginning?
No,
correct.
No.
Right.
I got sold I got sold a false dream.
So that's kind of what my thing that I want to provide value with now is people that either haven't taken the leap or taken the leap. Where we all learn as entrepreneurs is where do we pivot and where do we move as we were coming up. For sure. So again, I fell into all the same bullshit too early on, and had to do all that. So when you were coming up, you worked for some of these organizations. Yeah, I mean, I was treated right in a few different spots. Like don't get it twisted. There's always value. Well, there's always relationships you build along the way. 100%. Without any of these places, I wouldn't have connections to a lot of the parents of the kids that I train now. So I'm very grateful, but I'm not going to let that happen again. I know my worth and I know my value. And I learned so much about marketing and how to create a culture. That's really what I've learned. But now I also rediscovered my purpose, which is hockey and which is training athletes. And I fell away from that for a very long time. I took a job with Burn Boot Camp, making not very much money right off the bat. And you're promised all these commissions and stuff. And those things are dwindle down and don't fall through. But I was like, you know what? I have to fall back in love with what initially made me fall in love with fitness in the beginning. And that was hockey. And I had to get back to my purpose. And that's really when things started clicking and started working with me. I didn't want to go back there. To your purpose. Right. Trauma. Yeah. Because I didn't want to have to deal with that. Yeah. But I did. So what did you have to overcome trauma-wise to get back in that space? Well, there's a lot of different things. I think that my struggle with trying to take hockey specifically, that was my sport that to the next level. Yeah. And that not happening. Yeah. Is that what you mean? Okay. Yeah, for sure. Gotcha. Well, it happening and then me fucking it up. Right. I'm in the newspaper for a junior A team in the North American Hockey League, front of the newspaper. And then 2 weeks later, I'm in the coach's office getting traded because of my attitude, and that really messed with me. To a different league. And then I ended up playing college hockey at Cal U and did really well the first year. The second year was I brought a lot of my friends that played junior hockey and it just got extremely weird. Dude. Yeah. And it was a very complicated time in my life. It's complicated for all of us. Yeah. 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 But I'm grateful for it now looking back, but it could have been different. There's been opportunities that I fucked up in my life because I either couldn't keep my mouth shut or I just wouldn't play the process like they wanted me to play the process. Yeah. And that's why you're a business owner, dude, too. Yeah. Maybe you were right in some of those situations. I mean, I may have been. When you're going through them, you feel like you just made a catastrophic mistake. For sure. And you're like, oh my fucking God. You get humbled. I just flushed it all. I mean, there was been times, definitely in business and I wasn't into sports as much as you guys at that time in my life, but knew all of you, or a lot of you. And it was, went to a lot of your games and did a lot of the stuff. But yeah, I think there's always that do you want to go back and look at, in the mirror of where you fucked up an opportunity or because you think you're going to do it again. Yeah. I think that's always everyone's fear is oh, I'm just going to fuck it up again. For me, it was, I'd have a good run in life, whether it was, over here or over there. I'd have a great run and I'd fuck it up. I'd have a great run and I'd fuck it up. Yeah. I'd have a great run and I'd fuck it up. I did some, I think in 2017, I really started becoming connected to energy and understanding, my problems and the things that I caused and really became close with my energy and my body. Went inward. For sure. Everything was out here. 100%. So, because I really started battling depression pretty hard. And again, it was one of the moments I lost something, I thought was my shot back then. And I'm I just fuck everything up. And so it was for me, I still talk to this person, but, really allowed me to get out of my own way. Yeah. you know, and I think a lot of people, you know, and I don't necessarily want to call it therapy and all the other shit. You know, I think that's an overcomplicated word
sure.
anymore. But I found a person that I was extremely comfortable with sharing everything about me. So then I could in turn deal with it and get out of my way. You know, like I've made peace with my past. I've made peace with my fuck ups. I've made peace with everything along my road. I've looked at every avenue of my life and understand every problem of it. I understand every character defect that I have. And I can understand them now. I start to catch them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's important, especially for you, you know, when you're working with kids, because I feel like even kids nowadays are even way harder on themselves than we were when we were kids.
Extremely.
You know?
Yeah. And it's all the propaganda and all the shit that they're
For
fed.
sure. It's all bullshit that they're fed.
And I mean, it's generational trauma from that's just been passed on, and someone got to fucking break it.
Yeah.
Someone's got to break it,
sure.
you know, and it's some of these kids got a lot of weight on their shoulders for sure. Yeah.
So what are some of the things how do you kind of cope? And because I'm sure you felt that.
Dude, yeah, that's why I wish somebody like me was fucking telling me, like, yo, like you can.
So how do you
deal
deal with that with a kid who's, let's just say 10, you know?
Oh man, breath work is a huge one.
Okay.
Boxing and breath work. Those are like two of and I actually have a program called boxing and breath work. I think those are two really good ones. And then just communicating to them like they are an actual human being. Like kids are not dumb. When you're that age, your brain is soaking up so much information. Yeah. And you have to just be honest with them. Like, it's not going to be easy. Yeah. It's going to be difficult, but then show them like, look, this is what can happen if you make the right decision. It's more not really telling them what to do, but it's showing them by your actions and guiding them.
It's that lead
in
by
the right
example.
Direction. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's, you know.
You can talk all you want, 100%. Dude. Show me. Show me how to shoot the puck.
Yeah.
Like, stop yelling at me. I can't do it when you do it like that.
So I don't deal with like the young kids like you do. But I instill it in my kids. You know, I have girls, so I was not, you know, I don't think hockey's in the cards anymore. But I mean, my kids are extremely athletic, like I was. My wife was. You know, my wife was extremely athletic when she was younger, and I'm still athletic, hardcore to today. And, you know, my biggest thing for them is like, I want them to see that I'm up at 4:00.
Right.
I'm out. I'm coming back when you're just getting up. I've already been putting in the work, you know, and I drive my kids to school every day and I make sure that I'm intentional with our conversations. You know, like my daughter will get upset that she had a part taken from her in a dance routine. Then you need to motivate her. That's your motivation. You need to work harder to get that part back. Doesn't mean you lost it forever. It just means you temporarily lost it. You know, now we got to work harder to get that back. Yeah. And, you know, biggest thing for me is, and with my kids, is instilling the hard work. This is not going to be something that will ever be given to you. This is going to be something that you will continuously have to earn over and over and over. And if you don't like a certain situation, you need to go back and look at it, analyze what happened, and we need to come down to the cause and how we're going to make this better. Right. You know,
I commend you for that, because as a man, especially a married man in a relationship with kids, that's called, my life coach tells me, is like, that's called setting the tone.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah,
and a man needs to do that in a relationship
100%.
with their family.
Yeah, 100%. You know, because I always tell them, like everybody, like your kids are watching how you interact with your wife. Your kids are watching how you interact with people. Your kids are watching how you interact. You know,
if it's okay for dad and mom, it must 100%. Be okay for me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we set hard boundaries with a lot of stuff. You know, I have a pretty foul mouth, and I'm very open with it. I talk to my kids about it. You know, when you get to a certain age, you can say whatever you want, but that's not right now.
Right.
You know, I earn the right to this. But yeah, but I mean, again, like it's so, you know, I want to be in tune with what my kids got going on. Now, my wife is extremely involved with the kids and dance. I mean, this is her thing. Yeah. Like, she is in her fucking glory. Yeah. And I love it for her. Yeah. You know, I really do.
Purpose, dude.
Yeah, it's like her thing of
awesome.
Like, you know, she couldn't be, you know, again, they came back with 2 first places from DC this weekend. And
that's what kids will remember when they get older. Yeah. Like, what we're talking about is so important, because it makes me think of my dad and all the hockey trips and that I went on with my mom and my dad driving in the car. Like, that's stuff you remember, not how many goals you scored.
Correct.
You know.
Correct. And, you know, I think for me, I'm an ultra competitive human being. And, right now it's competitive, but it's like, okay, they're still trying to figure their stuff out. But now I'm seeing them get very advanced. And like my little one does like 2 back handsprings with back tucks now, and she's like 6. Like
That's crazy.
she's really, really good.
No fear, probably, huh?
None, 0, and a lot of that, which has been geared towards, them watching me do water sports and them watching us do extreme sports, and which they're not really into, which is fine. Like I would never, force my kids to do something that they would never want to do. But, when they're committed, they're committed. I think that's really important too, to instill in children at a young age. Like when you're in, you need to be committed,
Right.
Like
It's
half
not
in,
okay
half
to
out
quit.
doesn't work.
It's not okay. I mean, if you don't love it, tell us and we won't do it anymore. But don't quit.
100%. But I mean, because when you're young, and now as we're getting older, like I started to realize, even when I was watching some last night, like my number one sports celebrity hero is Kobe Bean Bryant.
Yeah.
Like by not even,
Right.
there is no other human being, because I compare myself to that in a lot of regard. Like I don't have natural skill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the smartest guy on the block, but I will always outwork you.
Yeah.
I will outwork you every time, and I'll figure this out.
Yeah.
And when you're going to party and I'm in the gym,
That's the
like, you know what I
difference,
mean?
man.
Like
I
I'm
love
putting in
that
the
shit.
work all
Yeah.
the time. And, and I like how they came in when he came into the league, he was hated.
Yep.
Then when he left, he was loved.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what it was with my life. Early on, I created a lot of waves and did a lot of things that, no more necessarily I had to learn, and learn how to sit in my position in life and learn how to really become that leader and become that person who's out to change other people's lives, and I think you're in a really great position with that, with these kids, because now more than ever, they just seem so lost.
Yeah, they are. There's no direction. And I'm just trying to be like, dude, trust me, go this way.
Yeah.
Like, and all of these kids have seen it because they're seeing me work over here, starting with 5 clients, 10 clients, 20 clients, 30 clients, 40 clients, 50 clients. Now I'm getting my own space. That's the same fucking thing as a kid that comes in and plays single A hockey and I help him get to the triple A level. Like, and it's the same thing. It's the next level. But the next level, it's the same thing. It just comes in a different form. It just appears a little bit different, and you're going to have to fucking level up. That's how it works. So I'm trying to lead by example the same way in my business that you are with your family. It's setting the tone every day, being up early, making sure that my mind, my body, and spirit is primed so I can handle that it's long days. Dude, you're probably up 4 a.m. till what time do you go to sleep?
Oh, man. I try and be in bed by 10.
That's pushing it too, right? Like
really
if you don't go to sleep at 10, you're tired.
I prefer 9.
Bit. Yeah.
Yeah. By 9 o'clock, I'm about running on E.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's coming up with a structured thing that you can give to these kids.
But they're an extreme. I have an extremely intentional days. Like I'm extremely
miss.
I'm extremely intentional with my days. My calendar is my God.
Yep.
I got in there, 12 p.m. to text my wife about how her day is. If I don't do that, like if I don't see that, I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. Like when I start the day, I am so hyper focused on what is going on that I don't think of anything outside.
I'm interested to kind of ask you questions on like how the beginning of your day to the end of the day, like what that looks like for you.
So I start my day off with a list of gratitude. I'll take the first 15 minutes. I feel, I think a lot of people nowadays, when their alarm goes off, they immediately want to grab their phone. What are you going to find on there besides something you don't want to see?
Nothing.
That's what I mean.
And it's interesting too, because when you do that, you get like if you get a little notification or an email, you get a dopamine and serotonin rush, but you don't get that organically.
100%. So
organically.
I put a list together with myself on some things of just, why am I thankful just for being here today? Obviously waking up is extremely important. What are some of the things in my life that I'm extremely grateful for? Now I have become to understand that I am living my fucking dream, and I don't want to miss that. Like I have a house on the river now. It has been my dream for my entire life. My wife, my kids, I am running a successful business that is growing. It has been a fucking journey on this thing. But again, like I'm extremely purposeful. Like everything I ever wanted is here. you know, and I think a lot of people will let that go by and you don't actually enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing that I've worked on extremely hard for the end of my day is when I get to the top of my hill and I'm coming down the hill, I'm blowing my day out.
Yep.
Meaning I'm exhaling it to where I'm not taking that home anymore. Like, it's not my kid's fault. It's not my wife's fault. It's not anybody's fault of whatever happened or any of this. I asked for all this. This is my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Be intentional with them. You know, it's none of this is their fault. This is your life, you know? So
That's a good one.
I drive my kids to school every day. I start my day almost routinely. My appointments start at 9:30. I want to have one outside appointment at 9:30. I'm back in the office by 10:30, and then it's paperwork, meetings. Noon, I have in there to text my wife. For 75 hard with the team, we've been breaking it up and doing our outdoor workouts midday together. So the whole point behind 75 hard with us is okay, how do we create a culture of understanding we're going to all have to sacrifice and be disciplined here? It's been eye-opening for some of the people because they've really audited their time and understand how much you fuck off. You know, I've become aware of that years ago. So, you know, reading and how important certain books are and how it can alter your thinking and has really changed some of the people on the team. You know, the no alcohol and the diet, that's just there to inconvenience you. Like 75 hard for me it's a disciplinary act in the sense of how can you schedule your day to maximize and fulfill it to your absolute potential.
Right.
And that's what it is for me.
It's a discipline program. It's not a
health. It's not a health and fitness program.
Yeah, people get messed up with
extremely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it has made me extremely intentional with my health and fitness because I would be like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today.
Right.
No, you got to go to the gym today because if you don't, you're prolonging it to do a half-ass workout in the end. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it my all on every part of this throughout the whole thing for 75 days. I'm going to figure out how this is going to go because you're going to build atomic habits, you know, after that. I have gotten myself to where I like to sit in a lot of the departments with a lot of different people in the business. That's where I need to be and working on kinks and bugs and fine tuning. And because you're going to understand too, the more you scale and the bigger you grow, it's going to be more about the experience.
For sure.
That's what.
And not yourself anymore.
No. We're in the service business.
Yeah, for sure. It's not about you.
It's never about us anymore. It's about the client and their experiences. And there's a pressure with that.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, because let's just say that you have 30 clients and you see 15 of them this week, you see 15 of them next week, and that rotates on a cycle. So you see 30 people two times a month. You need to be perfect.
Yeah.
Every time.
They'll know if you're not.
Oh, and they're going to tell everybody.
And they're going to call it out.
They're going to tell everybody.
Yep,
so it's the same as us. I mean, like, you know, we hope that, you know, and this is business. When you're early on in business, everybody who stuck with you in the beginning got a great deal, got a great discount because you needed clients. As you start to, you know, hone in your process, you start to hone in your experiences, you start to hone in your brand, you can start to incrementally price your value higher.
Yep.
Now, what comes with that when you raise your prices is you better fucking deliver.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yep.
And that becomes a very stressful thing because it's like, you know, when we build 20 homes a year and then we do 60 remodeling projects a year, okay, I have 70 clients a year that I need to please on a high level. And some of these people are spending $2 million. I mean, some of these people are spending $5,000, but some of these people are spending millions of dollars. And it becomes a weird
thing. Giving you their time and energy is 100%. Really what
and you need to treat every one of them the same.
It's a big deal.
And you need to treat every one of them the same.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no difference between the, you know, $5,000 handyman special to the $2 million client who has a full custom home.
There can be if you want, but you're an asshole if you're like that.
100%.
Yeah. So, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
So for me, it's, you know, my calendar is disciplined in the sense of, you know, leave for the gym, leave for the office, shower,
No matter how you feel.
read, gratitude, no matter what.
Yep.
These are non-negotiables.
Yeah, those are mine.
Yeah, they're non-negotiables.
Gratitude in the morning, I think.
I have to, make sure I hit all my things in the morning. And I'm an extremely disciplined dude in the sense of I don't listen to any music at all until I feel like I earned the day.
Yep.
Like I haven't listened to any music yet today, and I probably won't until I go home. Yeah. Making sure that all my emails are caught up, my texts are done, and I earned the day.
Because you do a lot of spiritual things that you might not even realize that like you're doing, but it's just like comes natural to you. And I think that's as humans is like, we're so spiritual on the things that we do every day that we don't even know we're doing them. Like creating what you're talking about, creating space.
Yeah.
That's my biggest in the morning as well as.
Also another thing for me that's been a fucking game changer is I drive about 30 minutes each way to the gym in the morning. Now people are like, you're fucking crazy. Why do you do that? I love the culture.
Yep.
I love the people in this gym.
Sets the tone, right?
I love the atmosphere. Yep. I love the coaches. I love the people. I love the programming. I love everything.
It all makes sense when you're there.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. And
you get hooked.
I love it. I drive there in 100% silence.
Yeah.
And I drive home in 100% silence. Because and when you start to get into a world, and again, you're seeing it, I'm sure, as you're growing, people are just gravitating to your attention.
Yes.
So when are you going to have you time? So when are you going to strategize for your next moves? When are you going to think about your next plays? Like, I would think about Bethel Park. That'd be my thing. Like I'd be zoned in on that. Like, how do I plan every detail to this thing? In dead silence, driving to the gym, just I'm in the zone
100%.
Because I'm kicking thoughts.
No
and then I'm thinking about the next 5 steps. Yep. And I'm like, okay, well, if I do this step and then the next 5 steps is our counter reaction to what I'm going to do.
Yep.
I always believe it's just like any other thing in the world. You need to play chess in this game.
I was going to ask you, you're talking about chess right now.
Yeah.
Do you play chess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned chess in prison.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. It's such a good game, dude.
Yeah. I learned chess at a higher level in prison. Yeah. So when I was in county jail, you play like spades. That's like a juvenile game. Yeah. Fun. You go to prison, you play with the OGs, you're playing pinochle. You play chess in prison. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's more qualified.
Did you know how to play going in?
I did not.
Somebody had to teach you?
I knew how to play on a very minimal level.
Yeah.
Chess became something that was just, it's you versus that other person to see who strategizes the best, And I always think that's like sales and business and all the other stuff.
Setting them up.
How do I bait you?
I'm going here, but I'm going exactly.
That's it. I bait you in for the next play.
Yeah.
Those are all like games that I kind of learned over the years, and, like unfortunate circumstances and some fortunate. But
I think it's cool. What do you think about like that's like a cool thing? I always like chess. Also reminds me of like good and evil, and like Batman and the Joker.
100%.
Yeah. It's like I used to like some people like will just gravitate towards one character than the other, and I'm like. The older you get, you're like, I don't know, man. Joker's making a lot of sense.
Joker made always been more sense. I always like more sense. Yeah. I was always kind of weary about Batman. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, you got ulterior motives here or some shit, buddy. I don't know. I know Joker's plan. I know what he's out to do. He was pretty straight up.
I think you could be both, though. Like, I think from the outside looking into, like, I was watching this documentary. I think it's Neymar was the soccer player. And he talks about, he has this painting up in his background, and it's a picture of him, but it's a picture of him painted as the Joker. And the other half is him painted as Batman. And it's like, to your family and friends, the people that you're closest to, you're fucking Batman. But to some of the other people in the world, you're the Joker. And I think that's like such an interesting thing. Like you can be somebody's worst enemy and you can be somebody else's.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting in the sense of because like I catch a lot of hate now from like people that I like used to grow up with and shit. You know what I mean? Because they
what
like,
are they doing?
Right. Well, they like still want me to like project the person that I like used to be. You know what I mean? And I'm like, listen, like you might know me like, on some other shit, but like it's not like that.
It's not who I am anymore.
Yeah, it's not even close. Yeah. Like, and the weirdest thing is I just never think about you.
Yeah. That's what's crazy.
I don't ever think about you. I think we can all relate in the sense of like the evolutional growth of, yourself as a person. And I think if you're willing to stay stagnant and you're willing to stay uneducated, and if you're willing to stay closed-minded, you are in for a lot of trouble.
Good luck, dude. People, here's the thing is like, this was my problem. I think probably both of our problems when we were younger we didn't fucking think other people actually knew shit. And there are people in my life that like did and had my best interest. And I just like didn't want to, I'm like, okay, dude. Yeah, you really know. You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
If they get knocked down, figure it out yourself.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely always periods in time. You know, there was like, I think all of us at certain points too had like, we thought we were chasing a dream that we thought was like our real actual dream.
No, it got sold to us, dude. Propaganda sold us that.
And
that's not what we really wanted.
No, and it was just, again, I mean, you know, the allure of doing some things that you really shouldn't do early on in life become extremely powerful.
Right.
You know?
Now, a lot of that has to do with like a frequency programming. Now we're getting deep. So like,
let's talk on that.
As far as like music and as far as everything around you.
Fucking point.
I heard a very interesting thing. Tell me what you think about this, because it kind of blew my. It was funny, but it kind of like really makes you think. It's like we grew up listening to like when we grew up listening to like hip hop music and rap music. It's definitely, let's be realistic here, it's the most influential music on the planet.
100%.
And there's something very powerful about that. We grew up listening to the drug dealers, right? Like they were dealing drugs and glorifying that and making that look cool. And I feel like things have like flipped and the kids are growing up listening to the drug addicts now.
It's drill music.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the problem with drill music is it's become cool to kill people. And I think I think there is a fucking problem. You know, we have a fucking problem here. And me and you have always kind of seen hip hop a little bit differently.
Than everybody, I think, yeah. Oh, you're talking about just me and you in general?
Just in general.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, just in general in the sense of...
We definitely did.
You know, you were into some of the backpack rap, you know, Mac Miller and all the other things. I became a big Mac Miller fan later on in life. You were always way more into the underground scene and some of that stuff, where I was more mainstream with the trap music and all the other stuff. But no, it all connects on the same level, man. And you're 100% right, because I still catch myself listening to drug dealing music and want to go back to selling drugs.
That's a program.
100%.
And that when you tap into that frequency, that channel, something inside you almost celebrates, literally, like on a molecular DNA level.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
It's a drug.
Yeah. And you know, now when the drill music came, which became, you know, not caring about anybody's wife or kids or family, and you're pissing on dead people and you're smoking dead people and you're doing all this shit, and you're now involving guns and violence, and it's cool to do drive-by shootings and gangs. This is when this got out of control, in the sense of now you have 13-year-old kids that are extremely influenced by this.
And I train a lot of them, and it's really starting to piss me off.
I bet.
I get kids coming in, they're like, oh, just Travis Scott. I'm like, dude, Travis Scott's his name? Yeah, the rapper. And I get like such a weird vibe from it. And like, I'm like, I see them.
So are these suburban kids?
Yeah.
They were even more influenced.
For sure, dude. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like witchcraft.
Because we were pretty much like suburban kids.
Yeah. You know? But we were close. I mean, suburban kids that wanted to be city.
For sure. Yeah.
And like,
100%.
You probably were closer to that than.
Yeah. But
you just ended from a little different.
Yeah. It was just, you know, but I'm with you in the sense of when you talk about frequency,
energy, frequency, program. It's the stuff that people can't see.
Man, it's wild too, because it is, dude.
You hear this guy talk about it? All these guys talk. Well, that's so
I touch base upon that, man. Where I'm like, we've all watched him
for
since
sure.
He started.
He's a big part of your growth and evolution.
100%. I mean, I was telling some guys at work the other day. I mean, I've traveled probably 13 states to see him. You know, same with Lil Durk. Like, I mean, I started listening to him 12 years ago before even anybody knew who even remotely would. Now he's winning Grammys, trying to get, you know what I mean? But you're
trying to get away from all that.
Trying to get away from all that, you know, and all the stuff that you got right. You know, you get wrapped in with King Von and all the other stuff. And, you know, with him, now you're watching him go from someone who was a street dude who's been to jail and prison numerous times to owning multiple businesses and being a spiritual. And that's the journey.
For sure.
You know, and it is not cool by any means. And I'm not going to ever gratify the streets or, you know, it is an endless cycle of somewhere where you're going to get into and you're going to regret it.
100%. And it was never even your journey to begin with.
No.
It was sold to you by propaganda.
100%.
And these kids, it's powerful, man. You even 100%. Be catching yourself, or I'm like, man, I'm even like kind of vibing to this for a second, like a Future song or something like that.
No,
You know
I
what I
vibe the
mean?
fuck out of it. 100%.
Did you ever hear what Russ talked about he was on a podcast and he was talking about Juice World and Future? Did you ever hear him talk about that?
I've not that specific. I've looked a lot into the influence of Juice World, XXX, Tentacion,
for sure, all those guys.
I mean, some of them
this
guys
is perfect.
who were
I'm
like,
glad that you're aware.
like very,
but they were drug addicts
for sure,
and they got sold that dream from rappers who were probably either talking about doing drugs or selling them.
Because you're absolutely right. When we were listening to it, you were a drug dealer, not a drug user.
That's what it was, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it flipped.
Yep.
And then it became cool to fill yourself up with Percocets and like be a fiend. And I'm like, what is going the fuck on here? Like, dude. We used to serve them people. Now they're what? Like, what? I don't. That's why I can never relate to it.
Yep.
But I seen, especially Juice World. I mean, XXX was probably secondary to that. He was pretty up there.
Was his even drug? I don't even know if his was too much drug stuff.
He was more. He got murdered, but he was like more in the sense of like he was that talking about death.
Emo, you know, like emotional,
very emotional rap. Yeah,
and
Juice World was a full on had drug problems.
Drug addict.
Yeah, he was a full on drug. But
addict. I'm glad that you're aware of that because the point that I'm trying to make is, this is the point that Russ was trying to make. I love hip hop, dude. I feel like there's such little Easter eggs in all of it.
Yeah,
it's such a good way to like talk about life. And Russ is my guy, and he said so many different things that helped me on business. But his point was, in an interview, you hear Future talking to somebody, or it was Nicki Minaj being like, Future doesn't even do the drugs that he raps about doing. He's like, he's like more sober than you would ever imagine. Yeah. And then you got Juice World saying in interviews and on songs like, I did drugs and did this stuff because of you, talking about Future, right? Yeah. And then he overdoses and dies. Yeah. Like, and you are a person in that culture that you're aware of all that, and you're going to say these things. It's just crazy that you'll do that to like your own people. And I don't know, but it's just a crazy, crazy thing that is very interesting that's going on right now.
It's gotten very weird in the sense of like how everybody takes it so serious now and acts like it is what they say is 100. Like, this is entertainment. Mm-hmm. Now, there is some truth in it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, some of these dudes really are about what they say they are, and some of them aren't. It's entertainment. I mean, you got to be able to pick and choose from that and understand that. You know, I think this brings up a great point too that we can kind of touch base on. I mean, we've all had them, but you know, you talked about Russ and some other guys. So who are some of the people that are very influential in your life now? Who are you turning? Like, what kind of guidance and things are you seeking in life right now?
I would say some of the top guys for me, I love the hip hop, so I'll start with that. I love J. Cole. And I'll do like a little like thing.
Did you go to Drake and J. Cole?
I didn't go to Drake and J. Cole.
I went to Drake and J. Cole.
Was it good?
I went just for J. Cole.
Yeah.
It ended up being Dirk was there. He got tossed on the last minute. Love Dirk. But J. Cole was.
What's the energy like? Compared to him and like Drake.
I've seen Drake, so I kind of knew what to expect.
Right.
J. Cole, man, great, absolutely great lyricist. Yeah, definitely was a vibe.
Yeah, so I would say him is somebody I look up to because these guys, you see them going from like super rich and famous to like, dude takes the train, wears sweatpants, like almost like, I'm actually going to be a glitch in the Matrix instead. Yeah. And he said this on one of his, I think it was, what did he say? He said, if I'm betting on myself, then I'll completely double down. Mm-hmm. That was like one of his lyrics. And that's something that you always said. You're like, you're always like, I'm all in.
All in.
I'm all in.
Always.
So that's how I am with this new business adventure. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to completely double down. Mm-hmm. If I'm betting on me, I'm going to completely double down. So in hip hop, I would say J. Cole, probably number one. Russ, would hit, one thing he said was super serve your niche. And mine is athletes. What do I have? Why would I waste any other time trying to gravitate other people towards the information? Can't relate. So I'm going to super serve that community, and that's going to work for me. And that's also going to be an area that I can live in my purpose. I love Einstein, big energy person. Everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want to create. It's not philosophy, it's physics. So there's a science to all of these spiritual things, and it's being able to connect the science to the spirituality. But all of that stuff did lead me to believing in Jesus again. Believe it or not, which is crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember you disconnected from it for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Because I went on to like a little bit of a more of a like it's you spiritual journey,
Yep.
but it all of that energy, quantum physics, spirituality, all this stuff, law of attraction, like breath work, all of it, dude. Like it'll work, but like for me personally, and I think because I'm on a platform right now, and who knows who's gonna watch this,
Yep.
is Jesus is for me. That's the answer. I really believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't believe in something that's a higher power and you're in business, you're gonna miss out because my thing is when you do good business and when you're having a hard time, he will drop gifts. I mean, I've seen things happen during times that I'm like, this is you fucking can't even explain this at the right moments.
Yep.
And it's whether it's a certain person or whether it's a certain experience or whether it's a certain just something that needed to happen to make sure the next portion things could happen.
Divine intervention.
Fuck.
And that literally just happened to me.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like
what happened.
Well, I thought this is all so new because I'm literally about to like sign this lease on Wednesday. Yeah. So it's like,
so you're figuring all this out.
Yeah. I got to be careful what I say too, because when is this coming out?
Probably 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. Then I can probably say whatever I want. It just wasn't working in the space that I was at anymore. And I was going to do it with an individual that I thought I was going to do it with, and we were going to do it together. And it ended up turning into a completely different thing. Like I thought that I found, it's like the yin and the yang. Like it was like, you got the good and the bad and the good, but then that flips and it becomes one. It's crazy. You're like, I thought it was this.
Yeah, but you dodged a bullet.
Oh, big time.
You got to be real careful,
big time bullet.
Partnerships in business become real wonky.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have worked.
And that could have burned you out and ruined your dream.
No, it would have.
When we first started Hemlock, we all kind of tailored the operation. Me and Steve already knew we would work well together. Like we've been doing that for a long time. Now, again, I never second guessed Ryan or anything like that. We just didn't know each other like that. So we all kind of like had an agreement like, hey, let's try this out. Let's just see if this is going to work. Let's see if we can, mold together and create something. And it was almost pretty instant that you could feel the energy was right. And there's never been a vibe in our company where it was like you feel off or you feel like, there's a finger pointing going on or it's never anything like that. It was never have been. And I mean, there's never been a time where I've questioned these dudes in 6 years, not once.
You shouldn't have.
No, I mean, we all stay in our lane though. We all know that each other all have the best interest for one another every day. So like, we're all putting in work in all different departments to make sure that we're, that's a rare thing, man. It's hard, especially when you start getting into, and my always biggest fear was whenever you start to become successful. Now, when you're not making any money, there's nothing to fight over, right?
It's so interesting because I can see it all happening right in front of my face.
Right. So like whenever there's a little bit of money, it starts to change things. Yep. And then, in our industry, it becomes a lot of money and, only just because the company size,
right?
When you go from 1 million to 10 million or whatever plus, it just becomes a game of the money's just going to be there. We've always aligned on our dreams, whether it was, we could have took a big owner bonus for the first time ever in our lives. But no, we decided to double down like we've always talked about and buy that office and put the money back into the company for our people.
Because it's not about you.
No.
It's about it's about, dude, it goes so deep after that.
Yes, I understand. And I've always said this from the start with our clients that it is so weird because we are creating the memories that are going to happen on Christmas and Thanksgiving for the next amount of years.
That's amazing.
It's wild.
No people. That's why you're going to be a leader that's successful because like wild. That even came out of your mouth.
It's right wild, to think that, even to think that somebody's going to flip one of our houses 50 years from now. Like it is wild to think about. But, there's always been, same thing like with me and like my mentors, I always gravitated. Now I gravitate towards a lot of the guys who've been doing this longer than me. Now there's a strategic reason for that.
Yep.
My reasoning is not that I don't like you and not that I don't want to have a conversation. I do. What I want to learn is I want to learn your mistakes. I want to learn your mistakes over the years. So as I'm hitting those plateaus, I can identify those mistakes before they happen, and I can pivot and not have it happen. I can reverse engineer.
It's fucking genius.
Because I don't want, there's enough, there is so much going on in our lives, and there's so many hard things going on and pieces to move around in business that I want to play. I'm playing chess.
That's because you don't, and that's so funny. Even just talking to you, I feel like because we could have conversations like this in the truck a long time ago, but you had a huge ego.
Humongous.
And you don't anymore.
Humongous.
And it is just like so much easier to communicate and talk with you, and it's so cool to see and watch the evolution of just the human.
Yeah. And
even that I can say that to you without you fucking getting mad.
Yeah, no.
You know?
And what I was going to say is I think it's because, and I don't ever want to say success, because the streets and success, I don't, again, but when you hit a level of money at that age, I understood that when I made the mistakes in the streets, it was because of ego. So I had to go back and deal with all that, right? Sure. So I made millions in the streets and lost all of it and had awful experiences towards the end. You know what I mean? And
sorry for laughing, but it's just, but
I had to go back and pay attention.
How it goes.
Like, what happened?
What happened there?
What did I do wrong here? And every piece of it became back to greed and ego. And I made unnecessary moves when I didn't have to. I didn't listen to my wife, who told me to stop. I didn't listen to the people that I loved that said, bro, you have enough. And I did it. I always said, I'm doing this for us. What the fuck? I wasn't doing this for us. I was doing it for me. You know what I mean? And I had to really understand that. And, that happened. And there's always that kind of thing in business too. But this time when it happened in business, it happened for a week, and I identified it and deaded it.
Discernment.
I had to, because I wasn't making the same mistakes again. I have zero ego in the game anymore. I do this to see all of us as a whole at Hemlock succeed. I love these people. I love these people.
You're employing some of my friends.
Dude, I love these people, man.
Dave Yarbrough works for you, doesn't he?
Dave Yarbrough is one of our top dudes.
I know,
man. He's been there for so long.
He is one of the hardest fucking workers you'll ever meet.
Dude, he is.
Heart of gold, too.
Yeah, and we've all kind of had to work through some things. We've all had humble pies with that. Him too, and us ourselves. But he's our second longest employee, only to one other dude who's been there since day one. But yeah, I mean, it's, when you start to get around the people and you're surrounding yourself with, and you love your day to day, and you love the people you're spending time with. I've never woke up and been like, oh shit, I don't want to go to work today.
Yeah, that would be a problem, especially for something that you built.
Yeah, because I don't want to do that again. I hated all the people I was around before. I was just around you because I could make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I hated everything about it. I hated it.
Yeah,
I didn't I could
being fake.
I could tell that these relationships were fucked up.
You're playing the Joker's card.
I could tell these relationships were fucked up.
Yeah,
and created
some of the stories, dude. They're not even real.
No,
they are though. That's what's fucked up.
Yeah. So tell me some of what with your next moves with Bethel. What is your main purpose there? Tell us.
Okay.
We'll start.
The main purpose there is to open up a 5,000 square foot sports performance and athletic facility training center. Okay. We're going to serve the community of Bethel Park, Peters Township, South Park, all the South Hills area. And we're playing to win. We're not just playing to open up a business. We're playing to be the best sports performance and athlete training facility in the South Hills area. We're going to host events. We're going to do boxing classes, breath work, yoga. It'll be so basically trying to take the model of the sports performance training facility and kind of the energy that you even see behind you here. Like you ever been to an art studio where trying to combine all of that into one and create an area and a space to where people can come and thrive. And it's just very simple.
It's a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
That's different. So are you going to have different times, different dedicated spaces? Do you have
so there'll be an area
have different teachers for certain things? And it's a very interesting thing too, because I think it's cool because you're getting more into the delegating role of this now.
Yeah. It's so much easier.
It's better, right?
Dude, everything else, fuck that, dude. I would much rather that's why I have a hummingbird tattooed on my
you just
neck.
focus on what you love now.
Yeah, I can just float around and be like, okay, are you doing your job? Are you doing your job? Yeah. Okay. And then I could go do my job and we can win.
It's hard being a delegator though.
Yeah, it's
different.
It's definitely different. But I think I'm gotten to the point where I'm good at recognizing people's strengths and their weaknesses. And I'm just going to ask them, what the fuck do you want? Yeah. Okay. let's figure out how to make it happen instead of this complaining and all this shit. Like, I'm more actions and solutions. If not, just get away from me.
Yeah, 100%.
Or you can't work for me, or it's,
Yeah.
we're going to figure it out. We might not figure it out right now, but we're going to fucking figure it out.
Well, business is trial and error, man. I mean, that's just what it's going to be. Yeah. I wish you all the success, man. I've watched you, I've watched you talk about this and manifest this thing for over a decade, you know, and that was why I wanted to have you on as one of the first health and fitness people, just because you kept so true to it for so long.
Thank you so much.
And I admire the fuck out of that because it's very hard. It's very hard to stay committed to something for a very long period of time. And even when nobody gives a fuck, you're still preaching it. So where can some people find you?
You can find me. Well, everything is going to change. Yeah. So right now you can find me on consciousmindathlete.com. That's my website. My on Instagram is @Justin Locante. And I'll release the name of the brand right here. The name of the brand moving forward will be called Athlete Academy Pittsburgh. We'll be located in Bethel Park, looking to open in 2 months. We have a build out that we have to do. So that's exciting. Got 2 employees coming with me and they're both fucking incredible.
Awesome.
And I'm just going to let them play their role. I'll play mine, and we're going to work together to serve the community of Bethel Park and help athletes take their game to the next level.
I like it. My one piece of advice to you, man, and this is somebody who went through what you're going through. Enjoy the process.
Yes.
You've worked for this.
Absolutely.
Don't stay very humble, stay very down to earth, enjoy every moment that you got building the build out, doing all that. I mean, this is going to be something you're going to remember, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate
Congratulations on all your success, and we'll wrap it up there.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your time and energy today.
Man, appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.